Sorry, money is tight right now. He nodded sadly. A few days later, I saw my brother's story. A party, expensive gifts, all from our parents. The caption, "We love you, our best nephew." My son asked, am I not the best for them? I said, I understand now. We are no longer part of this. The next day, my parents came, with tears in their eyes. My son's birthday was supposed to be a happy day. I had planned everything, his favorite chocolate cake, decorations, and a small group of friends. But when I asked my parents if they wanted to contribute anything, their response was quick and dismissive. Sorry, honey, but money's tight right now, my mother said over the phone, her voice dripping with feigned regret. You know how things are these days, my father added. I glanced at my son, who sat nearby, quietly drawing in his notebook. He didn't say a word, just nodded when I told him. But I saw the sadness in his eyes. He was used to disappointment. I didn't argue with my parents. I had learned long ago that it was pointless. They always had excuses, always had some reason why helping me, or my son, was inconvenient. A few days later, while scrolling through my phone, I saw a notification from my brother's social media. A new story. I clicked on it, not expecting anything special. But as soon as the image loaded, my stomach clenched. A lavish birthday party, glittering decorations, a massive cake, and expensive presents. And there they were, my parents, smiling, laughing, posing with my brother's son, their favorite grandchild. The caption read, "Happy birthday to the best nephew in the world. We love you." I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. I turned off my phone and stared at the wall for a long time. My son, my sweet boy who never asked for much, wasn't even worth a small gift to them. But for my brother's child? They had gone all out. I exhaled, my fingers tightening into fists. I stood up, walked over to my son, and hugged him tight. I understand now, I whispered. We're not part of this anymore. The next day, my parents showed up at my door, tears in their eyes. I stood at the doorway, blocking their way in. My mother wiped her tears with trembling fingers, while my father let out a long sigh, clearly searching for the right words to get through to me. We understand that you're upset, my mother started. But please, just hear us out. This is all a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? I folded my arms. Are you serious? You knew it was your grandson's birthday, and you didn't even think to get him a gift. Then, days later, I see you throwing a lavish party for my nephew. They didn't speak. And you know what hurt the most? I took a step forward. You didn't even apologize. You didn't come here because you feel guilty. You came because you need something. My father clenched his jaw, as if ready to argue, but I already knew the truth. What is it this time? I sighed. A new home renovation? Medical bills? Or did you, once again, pour all your money into helping my brother, and now you're coming to me to fix it? My mother flinched, and my father's expression darkened. Oh, I was right. We were planning to buy a new car, my father admitted. But things changed, and you expected me to give you the money? I finished for him, letting out a bitter laugh. Flashback. You're a smart girl. You'll figure it out. My mother had told me years ago when I was 20 and asked for a little help to pay off my last student loan. At the same time, they were buying my brother his first car. We'd love to help, but you already have a job, my father had added. And my brother, standing there twirling the car keys in his hand, had just shrugged. I took a deep breath and slowly shook my head. You know what's different now? I'm done figuring it out for everyone else. You have other kids, ask them for help. My mother clenched her fists. You know your brother. Oh, I know, I cut in. He's irresponsible, lazy, and used to you solving all his problems. Just like you're used to me cleaning up the mess. But I'm done. My father straightened his back, trying to sound authoritative. Don't be dramatic. We're your family. Family? I let out a breathy, humorless laugh. Then where were you when my son needed his grandparents? Why wasn't he family to you? Silence. I'm not your bank anymore, I said firmly. And I won't let you pretend you care about my son when it's convenient for you. If you want to be in his life, prove it with actions, not empty words. I took a step back and closed the door in their stunned faces. This time for good. I didn't expect peace after shutting the door in their faces. I knew my parents too well. Silence wasn't their style. When they wanted something, they pushed until they got it. And this time, It wasn't just about bruised egos or family pride. It was about money. 2 days later, my mother called. Then again. And again. By the fifth missed call, I finally answered, if only to get it over with. "We need to talk," she said, her voice tight. "We already did." "No, you slammed the door in our faces like a spoiled child," she snapped. "That's not a conversation." "Neither is you pretending to care about my son when all you really want is a check," I shot back. She gasped, like I'd just insulted her to the core. "Do you think so little of us?" "I think exactly what you taught me to think." There was silence, then a deep sigh. "Fine, let's cut to it. We're in a tight spot." "The money for the car? We already put a deposit down. If we don't pay the rest, we'll lose it. We just need a loan." I laughed. I actually laughed. "A loan?" I repeated. "Do you think I don't remember how the last loan went? Or the one before that? How many times have I helped and never seen a dime back?" "This time is different," she insisted. "We were counting on you. We thought." "Yeah, I know what you thought," I cut in coldly. "You thought I'd be the same fool I've always been. That I'd bite my tongue and hand over the money like I always do. But that's over." Her voice hardened. "So, what? You're just going to let us struggle?" "You're not struggling," I snapped. "You just want a brand new car you can't afford." "That's not struggling. That's bad planning." I could hear my father in the background muttering something angrily. Then he grabbed the phone. "We raised you," he barked. "And this is how you repay us?" Oh, here it was. The guilt trip. The "we gave you life" speech. The "you owe us" nonsense. "No," I said, my voice steady. "You raised me to take care of myself. And now I'm finally doing it. You selfish brat." I hung up before he could finish. Flashback. I was 24, sitting in my parents' kitchen, fresh off a long shift at work. "We need help," my mother had said, looking exhausted. "Just a little money to cover some bills. Your father had some unexpected expenses, and your brother." "What about my brother?" I had asked. She hesitated, then smiled weakly. "He's trying. But you know how things are for him." I knew. I also knew that my help wasn't for bills, it was for my brother's new business idea, the one he was so sure would take off. The same business that crashed 6 months later, taking all my savings with it. They had promised to pay me back. They never did. Now, they were trying again. But I wasn't that person anymore. That night, another call came, this time from my brother. I debated ignoring it, but curiosity won. "Tough guy now, huh?" he sneered as soon as I answered. "What do you want, Mark?" "You know exactly what I want," he snapped. "You made this a hell of a lot worse for Mom and Dad. If you'd just helped, they wouldn't be scrambling right now." I clenched my jaw. "Scrambling for what?" "A luxury car." "It's not just about the car," he exploded. "They took out loans. They maxed out credit cards. And you could fix it, but no, you're too busy playing victim." My stomach tightened. So that was it. They had been so sure I'd help that they spent money they didn't have. "Not my problem," I said. "You're serious? You'd let them drown in debt?" "I'd let them deal with the consequences of their own choices, yeah." "You're unbelievable," he hissed. "You sit on your high horse while Mom cries herself to sleep. Dad's losing his mind trying to fix this, and you don't care." "Oh, I care," I said. "I care that my son will never feel like I did growing up. I care that he'll never have to question if he matters. But you? You don't get to guilt me, Mark. Not after everything." He was silent for a moment, then scoffed. "Fine. You want to burn bridges? Don't come crawling back when you realize you're alone." "Funny," I said, "I was alone long before I cut you off." And then, for the second time that day, I hung up. Let them figure it out. Let them struggle. I wasn't their solution anymore. And I never would be again. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel guilty. I expected to. Cutting off my parents, refusing to bail them out, these were things that, a year ago, would have eaten me alive with guilt and self-doubt. But now? Now I just felt relief. That night, I sat on the couch with my son, watching one of his favorite cartoons. His laughter filled the room, unbothered, innocent. He had no idea what kind of war had been waged outside these walls. And that was exactly how I wanted it to stay. But peace didn't last long. The next morning, my mother showed up at my door. Not alone. She brought my father, my brother, even his wife. They all stood there, like some twisted intervention. "We need to talk," she said. I didn't move. "We already did." "You don't understand," my father said, his voice tight. "We're in serious trouble." I let out a slow breath. "Here we go." "That's not my problem," I said flatly. My brother scoffed. "Of course, it's not. Because now that you've got your own little life, you think you're better than us, right?" "No, Mark," I shot back. "I just finally realized that you only call me when you need something. You don't give a damn about me. And you sure as hell don't care about my son." My mother stepped forward, her voice breaking. "Please. We messed up, okay? We thought you'd help, and we spent money we didn't have. Now the bank is coming after us. If we don't pay, we'll lose the house." I blinked. "What?" My father exhaled sharply. "We used the house as collateral for the car loan. And then there were some other expenses. Other expenses. I didn't even want to know." "How much?" I asked, my voice eerily calm. My mother swallowed. 60,000. I let out a sharp laugh. $60,000. I shook my head. "You were that sure I'd come running, weren't you?" Nobody answered. "And now you expect me to fix it?" I continued. "To pay off your debt like I always do. To be the responsible one. The good child." My father's face darkened. "We raised you. We gave you everything. And now you're going to let us lose our home?" I clenched my jaw, my nails digging into my palms. Flashback. I was 18. Sitting at the dinner table, my acceptance letter to a university in hand. "That's nice," my mother had said, barely looking up. "Nice?" I repeated. "This is huge. I got a scholarship, but I still need a little help with." "Oh, honey," she cut in with a sigh. "We wish we could, but things are tight. Your brother needs a new car for work, and we're still paying off the house." Mark had just grinned at me from across the table. "Guess you'll have to take out some loans, huh?" I exhaled slowly, coming back to the present. "You've made it clear my entire life that I was never the priority," I said. "So now, let me make something clear to you." I looked my father in the eye. "I don't owe you anything." My mother gasped, her hands trembling. "You can't mean that. We're family." "Oh, now we're family?" I laughed coldly. "Funny. Because when my son was waiting for his grandparents on his birthday, you were too busy spoiling Mark's kid. Was he family then?" No one spoke. That's what I thought. I turned to go back inside, but my brother grabbed my arm. "Don't you dare walk away from us," he hissed. "You don't get to do this." I yanked my arm free. "Watch me." My father's face was red with anger. "You're going to regret this." "I don't think I will." And with that, I shut the door. This time, I locked it. 2 weeks passed. Silence. I half expected them to keep pushing, to keep calling. But for the first time in my life, they let me go. Then one day, I got a message from my brother's wife. I just wanted to say, "I get it. I see it now. I'm sorry." I stared at the words for a long time before responding. "It's not too late for you to walk away too." She didn't reply. But an hour later, I saw her Facebook profile change. Single. I smiled. Maybe, just maybe, I wasn't the only one breaking free. But just when I thought it was over, another text came through. This time, from my mother. "We lost the house." I stared at the screen, waiting for the guilt to come crashing down. It never did. Instead, I set my phone down, turned to my son, and said, "What do you want for dinner, kiddo?" His face lit up. "Pizza? Pizza it is." And just like that, I closed the last door I'd ever leave open for them. For the first time, I was truly free. Epilogue. Moving on. Months passed. Then a year. At first, there were moments of doubt. Late at night, when the house was quiet, I would wonder, had I been too harsh? Was there another way I could have handled things? But then I would think about my son. About how he never had to hear me argue with my parents again. About how his birthday the following year was filled with laughter, not disappointment. And that was enough to remind me I had done the right thing. My parents never fully gave up, of course. After they lost the house, they tried everything: guilt, manipulation, even playing the victim to extended family. But I stood my ground. I refused to become their safety net again. 6 months after cutting them off, I sat in a cafe, sipping coffee, when my phone vibrated with a message from an unknown number. "It's Mom. We need to talk." I let out a slow breath. It had been months since I last heard from her. The last thing I knew, they had moved in with my brother, still drowning in debt, still refusing to take responsibility for the choices that led them there. I debated ignoring it, but curiosity won. About what? I typed back. Seconds later, my phone rang. I sighed and answered. Sweetheart, she started, her voice soft, full of forced warmth. It's been so long. How have you been? I'm fine, I said flatly. What do you want? She hesitated. Then, your father isn't doing well. The stress has been too much on him. The house, everything. And Mark, well, you know how he is. He tries, but it's not enough. We just thought, maybe, you'd be willing to help us get back on our feet. Just a little. Nothing like before. I closed my eyes, gripping my coffee cup. Here we go again. Mom, I said, keeping my voice even, you lost your house because you took out loans you couldn't afford. You prioritized my brother's comfort over your own security. And when I refused to bail you out, you tried to make me feel guilty instead of owning your mistakes. And now you want me to step in? Again. It's not like that, she said quickly. We're just asking for a little help. No, I said simply. A beat of silence. Then, you're really just going to leave us with nothing? I laughed bitterly. You already left yourselves with nothing. Then I ended the call. 1 year later. Life had never felt this peaceful. My job was steady. My son was thriving. And for the first time, my money, my hard-earned money, was being spent on building our future, not fixing someone else's mistakes. The anxiety that had once been a constant in my life was gone. I no longer flinched when my phone buzzed, expecting another demand. I no longer carried the weight of other people's problems on my shoulders. Then, one afternoon, I got an unexpected message. From my brother's wife. I left him. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then, are you okay? A few minutes later, my phone rang. I hesitated before answering. I had to tell you, she said, her voice shaking. You were right about everything. I stayed quiet, waiting. I saw what they did to you, but I thought, she let out a bitter laugh. I thought I was different. That they'd never treat me the way they treated you. But the moment things got bad, the moment I couldn't keep supporting Mark, he never put in the effort, they turned on me too. Just like they did to you. I sighed. I'm sorry. Don't be, she said. I should have listened to you sooner. I should have seen it for what it was. But I didn't want to believe it. Where are you now? I asked. With my sister. Trying to figure out my next steps. But I needed you to know, you made the right choice. Walking away. They never changed. I swallowed, emotions I hadn't expected rising in my chest. Thank you for telling me, I said. We spoke for a few more minutes before saying goodbye. When I hung up, I sat there, staring out the window, feeling something strange and unfamiliar settle over me. Closure. 2 years later. I stood in the backyard, watching my son chase bubbles across the grass. His laughter echoed in the warm afternoon air. Mom, look, he called, pointing at a particularly large bubble floating toward the sky. That's a big one, I smiled. As I watched him, I felt it again. That sense of freedom. Of finally being in control of my own life. I had spent so many years believing that family was something I had to sacrifice for. That love meant giving until there was nothing left of me. But I had learned the truth. Real love, healthy love, didn't come with conditions. It didn't require me to burn myself out for people who never once offered me warmth in return. I wasn't a bad person for choosing myself. I wasn't cruel for setting boundaries. And I wasn't heartless for refusing to be their financial safety net. I was simply free. Mom, my son called again. I looked down at him, his bright eyes full of excitement, his whole world still untouched by the kind of pain I had endured. And I promised myself he would never have to learn the lessons I did. He would always know he was loved. Not because he was useful. Not because he was convenient. But simply because he was him. Final message. Months later, I got one last message from my mother. I hope one day you forgive us. I stared at it for a long time before finally typing my response. I already have. But forgiveness doesn't mean going back. Take care. Then I blocked her number. And I never looked back.